Gentleman from Oklahoma recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple quick points. I must say that my good friend, the gentlelady from North Carolina, nearly lost my vote when she said the bill wasn't crafted by wily Republicans to get rid of rules and regulations. I thought, why not? Isn't that why we made Republicans? I thought that was it, but I still like the bill. I do want to ask my friend from North Carolina one point, and I may not have understood this in your testimony. I think you mentioned tribal governments in the course of your remarks. Did I hear that correctly?
Thank you. As you know, you and I share a passion for our tribal government.
I was going to mention my friend represents one of the greatest tribes in this country, the Eastern Band of Cherokee.
I was talking to them today, and so much of the assistance already deals with some of the state, local, and tribal governments, and so it's not meant to preclude them or put them in any kind of a disadvantage. Mr. Cole and I would not stand for that. In this particular, it adds a group of protected entities, the private sector, that would include individuals, associations, a number of others that sometimes tribal governments have associations with, but one that I was clear with that, and it does not undermine any authority.
Well, I appreciate it, because this is, you touch on, as you know, frankly, one of the great problems that tribal governments have, which is they do live on their own land under a federal regulatory regime. And we see this over and over again where states are free to, I can just tell you on drilling, for instance, and mineral rights issues, to have their own regulatory regime. And quite often you'll see exploration. North Dakota is a good example, right up to the edge of a reservation that's much more difficult because it's more expensive, more time consuming. You know, we see tribes that, you know, for many years were not regulated by the National Labor Relations Board. They unilaterally took that authority in 2004 and placed them under there, even though, again, they're governments, and state and national governments are not under the Labor Relations Board. So I'm glad that you just mentioned it to give me an opportunity to point that out. This is an area rife with need for work in order to, and we've made some good progress here on a bipartisan basis. Our friend now, Senator Heinrich, was in Representative Heinrich. He brought some really great legislation called the Hearth Amendment, which gave tribes the ability to manage their own property better. We get a federally approved regime over their property management, and then they would actually do the management. You wouldn't have to send every land decision all the way to the Secretary of the Interior for approval in an impossible situation. So, again, I appreciate my friends working this. I really appreciate my friend's bill because, again, as I said, from the businessmen and women that I represent, and I suspect it's true of me, I hear more about regulatory problems than anything else. And it's not that they're not concerned about taxes or they're not concerned about health care proposals or whatever they are, but, you know, getting at these kinds of issues to make, again, as my friend Ms. Fox said, nobody wants to get it. We all want to drive safe cars and eat good food, but the appropriate balance seems to have gone too heavily in the federal direction, and it's just the amount of time that it takes to comply, the micromanagement from Washington, D.C. is just truly tremendous, and the cost that is offloaded from the public sector onto the private sector is tremendous. So I want to commend my friend from North Carolina, who is a wily Republican, but I also want to thank you, gentlemen, for bringing this legislation forward through the process. Yield back.